And today in our trending topics, I'm going to be discussing two topical issues, trending issues or trending topics. And we're going to go into them right now. I'm going to be talking about the Jamaican the Jamaican dance. He's the king of dance hall and the king of dance hall recording artist. He's the king of dance hall. He's a dance hall artist, Vybz Kartel, and that's just what he does. But he's also a father, a son, and all of those things. And then I'm going to also be speaking about the couple who are currently being held accountable for the death of one of their, I think the woman, her son. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Okay, so the first story I'm going to be speaking about is this one. So I'm going to share a clip with you first, and then so the prosecutor in this case is seeking the death penalty. And first thing I want to do is share the clip first, the audio clip first, and then we take it from there. Hang on, let's make sure our sound is set up. Settings. Okay, Bluetooth is off. Turn it on. Connected. Ding. Connected. Now let's go to the clip. Okay, so the first one I want to get open is this one. I opened the wrong one first. Okay, so let's first play this clip.
It's time for justice to be served. I know we know and we understand that it's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a long process, but with this new development, we are hopeful.
The family of this 10-year-old boy who police say was tortured to death by his own mother and her boyfriend say they are one step closer to justice. Today, the state attorney announced they are charging Kimberley Mills and Andre Walker with first-degree murder and will be seeking the death penalty. I'm Summer Reynolds.
I'm Stuart Moore. This comes more than a month after police say Mills and Walker abandoned Xavier at the hospital. What's David Jones has been on top of this heartbreaking case since the beginning. David, how does the death penalty change this case?
State Attorney Bill Gladson tells me that it means this case will be a lot longer and more drawn out than other murder cases. Still, though, he says the state is aggressively pursuing these charges and is going to get justice for this little boy.
Announced today that we are seeking the death penalty as to both defendants in this case.
A pivotal juncture. The state will pursue the death penalty against 37-year-old Kimberley Mills and 36-year-old Andre Walker.
Florida law allows for capital punishment for the most heinous of crimes and for the most vulnerable of victims.
5th Judicial Circuit State Attorney Bill Gladson, flanked by Xavier's aunt, the Tavares police chief, and a detective in the case, says the death of the 10-year-old sent shockwaves.
I am deeply appreciative of the outpouring of support from our community, who have rallied behind Xavier's family during this difficult time.
This case has been a true test of strength and resilience, and one we are in for the long haul. As a dad myself, my heart breaks for Xavier's family.
Prosecutors said the abuse dated back months, to December at least. They said objects like dumbbells, a flashlight, boxing gloves, and a copper rod were used against the young boy. Gladson says factors allow them to pursue the death penalty. If Walker and Mills are found guilty, it would be for a felony involving the use or threat of violence, a felony that occurred with aggravated child abuse. The alleged felony was especially heinous. Xavier was less than 12 and was particularly vulnerable because of the position Mills and Walker held.
Those are the 5 aggravators that we have evidence that we expect and intend to prove in this case, should the jury come back with a conviction in the future of first-degree murder.
Xavier's aunt, Camille, says it's welcome news.
I want to take this time out to thank everyone, the community of Tavares and the surrounding communities, everyone that was involved, the media, everybody that donated, every single person for praying, for the compassion, for the sympathy.
I did reach out to the private attorneys hired by both Walker and Mills. Walker's attorney got back to me this afternoon. He declined to comment Meanwhile, Xavier's remains will be flown back to Connecticut. That's where his family says his funeral will be held. They'll also be holding a vigil for him next week. Covering Lake County, live in Tavares, David Jones, West 2 News.
Wow. I can't find the words. Okay, so for those of you who know, I have a fitness channel, right? So, and I have an at-home. I do at-home workout at home, and so I have dumbbells at home. And though they didn't say the weight of the dumbbell, I still can't. I have a 5-pound one, and even that one, when I'm working out, I don't want it to fall on me. I don't want to drop it on my toes or anything. And just to imagine someone using that as a weapon against you, even as an adult, is so egregious. Not to mention someone who is a child, who is lesser in strength, stature, and everything. I mean, he's a small person. You know what I mean? And okay, let me say this because I like to say this at the beginning. First, I want to thank everyone involved in this story, because sometimes we can get so lost in the victim and the perpetrator and the emotions of it all that we can miss the lessons and also misrepresent the story. And I don't want to do that. This podcast is about positive mindset, positive living, and putting out positive into the world, right? No matter the topic that we're talking about. So these stories I see as breakdowns that I want to use to help me in my self-work so that I can achieve breakthroughs for positive outcomes in my life, right? So with that said and that in mind, please bear with me. These are just my thoughts. This is just how I feel. This is not me telling you how to feel. This is not me saying what should be and what shouldn't be, because I do believe that the universe is at play at all times and in charge. There's a God that is in charge who authorize and disprove and approve things in this life. So with all that said, the thought of this, the thought of this little boy and what he had to endure, my heart goes out to him, his family, and even the people who are inflicting this kind of harm on a kid. What was going on in their mind? What kind of trauma have they gone through? We have to become so conscious. You see, this is why I say self-awareness is so important, because we have to learn ourselves to understand even the things that trigger us. Why do they trigger us? And when we ourselves are triggered, when we are upset, when we are angry in our own lives, because it is so easy to sit here and just strip these two people and rip them apart and call them the worst and ugliest of names and titles and labels as we desire. And that will help us, I guess, feel better and help us enact our own venom because of the anger that this builds up in us, right? We can do that. We can go after them and we can say, death penalty, da 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 da. Well, I will allow the justice system to do what the justice system is supposed to do. That's not my role. How I want to look at this is, there were so many breakdowns. What was going on in this family? Where is the, I think, Kimberly, right? So Kimberley Mills, the woman in this case is the victim, is the boy's mom. And the man is her boyfriend. Oh God, this is hard. I'm sorry. That's why I'm wearing these glasses, because I figure these stories were going to be challenging for me. I'm not mad at them. One of the things I try not to do when something happens or someone is seemingly carrying out a role where we tag them as evil and violent and wicked, my first response is not to hate them. My first response is, how broken are you that this is where you find safety in being this? In enacting this kind of harm on other people? This is where you found your safety. This is where you found yourself. This is where you felt comfortable to operate. And that for me is a painful thought. So it's not my place to enact vengeance. That's the universe business. That's God's business and the courts. That's not my business. And if that offends you, then my apologies. But that I'm not here to tear them apart, because for a mother, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I don't have kids, okay? But I cannot even imagine. I can only think of the people that I love, and I don't want to hurt them. I would rather they hurt me. I would rather disappear from their lives than to hurt them. Does that make me better than this person? No, it makes me of a different story, of a different displacement mentally. It makes me of a different place in my life. It makes me of a different mindset. It doesn't make me better than. So for me, I feel for all of them involved. For all of them involved. And too often, I think, for whatever reason, we can't see the people in need, but we see them when they become a perpetrator or when they become a victim. And my prayer is that if God could just please help me to see the people in their pain before they become a victim and a perpetrator. If you could just give me the kind of heart to see their need, their brokenness, and to be able to provide support to prevent them from having to matriculate to victim or perpetrator. You know what I mean? I mean, we can get as angry as we want to, but what will that mend? What kind of help will that bring? This is a heartbreaking story overall, and it makes me cry for my community. It makes me cry for the world, but it also makes me say, God, what was the purpose of this? Why did you allow this? Authorize it? You could have prevented it. You could have you could have mitigated it. You could have sent intervention ahead of time, because you're the all-seeing, all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent God. So you see when we go through heartbreaks. Let me tell you something. Earlier today, I cried so hard because I love people and sometimes the people you love are so busy living their lives that it's not that they don't love you too. They're just not even thinking about you sometimes. And I also had to sit to myself and say to myself, love is not possession. What you're crying for is the possession. Love is free. Love should make you happy. And we're in a world that I've had to be asking myself, if you love someone, why are you crying? Because you don't have them. That's not what love is. That's possession. That's possession. When you love someone, it should be a blessing, not a trial. Where does that all fit? It goes right back down to love. Do we love ourselves? Do we understand what love is in order to give it, in order to receive it, in order to know how we treat it? Because of how I viewed love for so long, I was mad at the very people that I loved because they weren't giving me what I wanted. They weren't behaving in the ways I wanted them to. And I didn't realize that, but that's not what love is. Love releases. And earlier today, I literally had this experience today when I sat down and I thought about one person and I cried. And then I thought about my girlfriend and I just smiled and I said to myself, hang on. So why is it that I smiled when I thought about my girlfriend, but when I thought about this guy that I love, I cried and I'm like, you're supposed to still smile. You're supposed to be happy that you love the person. But I realized that the desire that I had for possession and for things to go my way was overcrowding the beauty and the blessing of the love I feel. And I think parents sometimes go through that. And as a child who thought my mother never loved me, it's in her death, after she died and everything, long after she died, and I've been trying to heal myself, not necessarily heal from her death, because to be honest with you, I don't know what I feel from that. But the feeling of my mother didn't want me, trying to heal that feeling, trying to go back through, and also reflecting on the things she did. And I realized that my mother did love me. It's just that she was expressing it in ways that I didn't understand. Or she was expressing it in the way I wanted her to love me. She wasn't able to give it to me that way. My expectations were different from how she was actually giving it. it's so weird because you see these rings I have on my finger, like I'm not necessarily a jewelry person, but my mother once gave me 3 rings, and I remember I loaned them to someone and never get them back. I never got them, never received them back. There were 3 gold rings, and I'll never forget. One of them have a heart at the top, and it's like in the last year or so I sat down and I'm like, wow, she gave me those things. Like she there's so much that she did that I did not see in the moment as anything good. I didn't, because I didn't feel wanted, and I didn't feel she loved me, and I had so many questions in my mind because I had already convinced myself she didn't love me. Now, why am I bringing this up? No, I'm saying even in the most heinous acts, sometimes you'd be amazed to know love is there. You would just be amazed to know sometimes we don't know how to express the love, or how to manage the love, or how to manage the expectations we have of people. Like, because I cannot fathom in my mind how a mother abuses her child to that extent, but my mother abused me. My mother did things that could have led to my death. I just didn't die. I remember once my mother took up a it's so weird that I'm making the mistake saying mom. I think it's because I read it, because that's not a word I ever use. That word I avoid like the plague. But I remember she took up a figurine. It's called a figurine. It's like a big dog. It was like a dog, sorry. But it was made of, like, I don't know if that's charcoal or something. Not charcoal, but chalk. It was white, like it's made of. And I remember she raised it to throw at me. And I remember being crouching over on the ground, praying that she don't throw it, and she didn't throw it, thank God, right? But there were other times. I'm speaking too fast and my emotions are just running. Anyway, there were other times that, there was cruelty. I just didn't die. So I'm just saying, we can go straight to demonizing them, or we can take this breakdown, this disruption in their story, and look at ourselves and say, what are the times when I get angry and I just pick up something and throw it and not think what it could do, what harm it could do? And then sometimes after we do the thing that hurt other people, some of us are not strong enough to go back and even apologize. Some of us just add credit to our guilt and move on. Right? Because we can't even say, I am sorry for what I did to you, but we still feel it. Don't think we feel it. People feel it when they hurt other people. We feel it. That's something that I don't think anybody can avoid happening, at least not based on my experience. But you stack up that guilt, and after a while, that guilt become hardened, I believe, and we become capable of far more. You know what I mean? So it's easy to look at somebody else, but let's look at our own lives. I just spoke to I have a friend who I know loves me. She loves me, no doubts about it. And I stopped talking to her for about 2 or more years. And I picked up the phone the other day and I messaged her, and she just messaged me back. And when I tell her the love, she just loves me. It's like I never left. And just imagine the pain that she had to go through. I remember she said to me when I was talking to her, she said, I've never cried like this over a woman. And it's not because of intimacy. And I think she said, I'm not going to let a woman make me cry like that again. That was hurt that I influenced, that I caused. And because it wasn't a physical harm doesn't mean it was any less important, doesn't mean it was any less painful. So, things like stories like these, I'm taking for it to inspire my own self-work so that I can become a golden buzzer every once in a while for the people in the lives of the people I love, as opposed to just giving them the X all the time. You know what I mean? Because we are all vulnerable, and we all, even in our best, when we're doing our best, we still sometimes end up causing hurt to somebody else. And that's all I want to say. So I pray that, and I pray and commit everyone involved in God's hands, the child, the mother, the stepfather, and the actual father, because I think when a child is abused, everyone is accountable. I am accountable. You're accountable. Everybody becomes accountable, because this is a little person who did not ask to to be brought into this world, but they were here. You know what I mean? But I believe that it has to be a broken child within the adults who inflict such a harm. There's some things going on there that society also missed. We missed. Anyway, that's all I can say about that story. I'm going to move on to the next story now, because this one is really, I really thought I would have handled it better, to be honest with you. But it's having I want to say this before I go. You know, I have a niece that I love so much. I can't even talk about her. And I feel like I have abandoned her. Even my sisters and my brothers. I sit sometimes and I say to myself, you know, I am stacking up on regrets. Like it's like my regrets account is just growing and I don't know how to prevent it. To be honest with you, it's like I sit down and I see regrets about to topple over me and I know it's going to cripple me and I do not have the tools to even deal with it because I don't even see the possibility of it being handled. And I do believe that there's some issues like that when it comes to family and stuff that it's not going to heal in this lifetime. Because for it to be really truly addressed, it involves everybody and it's like disrupting everybody's life. You know what I mean? And will everyone even have the resource to then manage the breakdown that comes after? And I'm telling you, my niece, I love her so much that I have to, in my mind, not even go where I cannot even bring her up in my mind and linger there because she's young and she's living her life. But I think sometimes it's like, I feel like I see her as this little girl still. And I feel like the adult that she is now, I wouldn't even know how to get into, to go into her life and be what. And to be honest with you, I don't even feel safe. And why would she feel safe? You know what I mean? I don't even know why I'm sharing that. I probably shouldn't, but I'm saying that to say we are causing harm and we're causing hurt and influencing hurt to the very people that we claim to love knowingly and unknowingly. And those harms and hurts that we're causing, we're inflicting on them or influencing or sending their way, whether it's through energy or through physicality or through whatever way or spiritually. We have to become aware of those things because physical pain is not the only pain that we put them through. That's all I want to say. Now, the next story that I want to go to is Vybz Kartel. I want to talk about Vybz Kartel. I want to play a clip first. And then we go there. That story right there, I that's not where I thought it was going to go. I thought I was going to be able to handle it better. So there are 5 lessons I think that we can learn from the Vybz Kartel case and maybe even the other one too. But I just want to share this audio clip first and then I'll talk about it.
I didn't have time to be like, oh, I'm in despair and I'm so sad. No, I had to fight to get out. Remember, I'm fighting to keep my family together, fighting illness, fighting for my freedom, fighting to keep my career on that level.
All right, now to the interview you've been waiting for. Our Lisa Evers with Vybz Kartel, the dancehall superstar, stopping by the Fox 5 studios today. Welcome back to the 5 o'clock news. I'm Steve Lacey.
And I'm Bianca Peters. It was a raw and candid interview. Vybz Kartel in New York today, only talking to Fox 5.
Okay, Fox 5 Lisa Evers with the one-on-one you won't see anywhere else.
Superstar Vybz Kartel put it all on the line and risked everything when he spoke to me in the summer of 2021 from one of the Caribbean's most notorious jails. Kartel was in poor health, substandard conditions, and being ignored by the system. He gave me a jailhouse exclusive interview that went viral, and he insisted on his innocence.
Yeah, because I was sick for a few years. So definitely I'm recovering physically, but mentally I've always been in a good place because I know I'm innocent and I know I'm coming out.
He vowed to me then that he was going to beat the fabricated murder charge that had kept him locked down for a decade. That day finally came last July. After years of fighting for his freedom in the courts, the Privy Council in the United Kingdom threw out the conviction. By order of King Charles, he was ordered released from prison immediately.
Yes, everybody, this is the interview you have been waiting for, you have been asking for. Joining me for the first time here in New York at the Fox 5 studios, the one and only Vybz Kartel.
Yes.
Vybz, it is so great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. And it feels very surreal because I've been watching you. We've been corresponding for so long, and now I'm here. It's an amazing feeling. Right? Feels good.
It is an amazing feeling, and I feel like I know you because of the talks, everything that we followed your whole saga, and all of that. I think one of the things that people resonated with, whether they were fans of your music or they just came to know you because of what you were going through, was this.
Okay, so I'm just going to play that clip and stop right there. Why am I talking about this Vybz Kartel trending topic? Why am I talking about Vybz Kartel? Whether or not we like him, whether or not we support him, whether or not we think he's guilty, and let me again remind us, I thank everyone involved in every story that I speak about. I thank them for having gone through the brokenness and the breakdowns so that I can do self-work to get to breakthrough in my life for positive life outcomes. So for all involved, all the victims, all the alleged perpetrators or the alleged victims, thank you all for the experiences that you're going through so that I can sit here and have conversations and I can sit here and work on myself, right? So I thank everyone involved in the story. Whether or not you like Vybz Kartel, I learned watching his story, and I have not been someone who watch like a close watcher of the story. I'm not a fan. I'm not a nothing. I'm just a person who, because his story has been such a trending topic for so long, and the whole news and the whole court case and everything, because I'm not even a loyal follower of the news, to be honest with you. Something really has to touch my heart for me to pay attention and for me to talk about it. You know what I mean? It really has to touch somewhere inside of me, for me. And usually when it touches me, I have to ask myself, okay, is this inspiring you to become a better person? And I usually like to pray to God and say, so God, why is it you brought this story to my personal attention? What is it in me that you want to work on that you brought this to my attention? Because nothing just happens in my life. I don't know about you, but in my life, nothing just happens. The story doesn't run across my attention for no reason. Everything is coordinated with the way the universe works with me. So I like to pay attention. I like to live in mindfulness and awareness, right? So as I sat, and it's more recently actually that, because I never followed up his case or anything, but I'm aware of the conversations that I've had a lot. I see clips here and there, and I'm aware of some of the stories that have been out there and floating. And I hear him get both love and hate. But for me, I sit back. One day I was hearing somebody, sometimes your YouTube, like you're finished playing something, and if you're not in the space to flip it to something else, to change it or go to something else, then it just plays what comes next, right? And I remember there was something being played, and I sat down and this man is one to admire. Now, I'm not here to judge him for the allegations against him. That's not why I'm here. I don't know if he was guilty or innocent. What I do know is that we talk about David in the Bible. We talk about, I always go back, even the David and Goliath story. To me, the way we just demonize Goliath and celebrate David. Yeah, but Goliath was a person too. I'm just saying. In the end, there's also a part in the Bible where they say God hardens Pharaoh's heart. And I always say to myself, so why is everybody mad at Pharaoh? Why is everybody mad at Pharaoh? If God hardened his heart, what I'm trying to say is, in my understanding, it's like, I believe and I've seen where God will use people to do things for a greater purpose. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying anybody is right or anyone is wrong. I'm saying the way I look at things, I look for the breakdowns, then I look for what the breakdown is trying to tell me about myself, and then I go and do my own self-work, and then I'm looking forward to some breakthroughs from the work I've done, right? Better life outcomes, positive life outcomes for me and everything I touch and everyone I interact with, okay? So as the thing played, and I remember I stopped it and I was just thinking about the whole Vybz Kartel thing. And to be honest with you, and I sat to myself and I'm like, man, it had to have taken tremendous mental work, whether you're guilty or innocent, to do what he's done, to maintain his career, to come out. And there's so much noise, but this man is just focused on what's next, and building and the resilience. You cannot deny the man's resilience. You don't have to like him, you don't have to believe him, you could think he's as guilty as you want to, but you cannot deny the resilience. And I sat to myself, because see, I've always said, if I have a family, that I want it to be resilient. I want to run it like an institution, a business, you know. And when I really sit and think about it, we have to run our lives like it's a business. We have to run our lives like it's an institution. We have to have a. I think it was like 2 days ago. I was speaking with someone. I said, you know, we need to have. I literally establish a bank account as a defense funds for the first, like directly. I have savings for like emergencies, but I sat down and I'm like, listen, my man, defense is too critical to be lost in emergency funding. No, we need to have a funding, an account that we save to, and it should just be called the defense fund for yourself and for your family. If something happens to you what if this man did not have the financial access to the financial resources he had? What if he did not have the kind of gift that he could have stayed behind bars and leverage? And it even makes me go back to thinking about the kind of career choices we make. And it's okay, whatever career choices we make, but I believe that we need to spend some time as we talk to people about career development. We need to spend some time to make sure that we're cultivating a kind of career that we can leverage wherever we are. That we can generate income, even if we're trapped somewhere, it is making money that we can access. Because some of us, or the jobs we have to go to a place to do it, and that's it. And if something happens, then what? And so we have to make the kind of investment. So our career can't just be a job anymore. It has to be, yes, it has to be income generating opportunities. Whether it's one job, two jobs, some gigs to the side, whatever, because paying the bills alone and making and feeding each other is not all that provision providing entails. It has to entail the capacity and the ability to defend ourselves and our loved ones if something happens, especially if they're innocent. So when I look at the Vybz Kartel case, there are 5 lessons that I wanted to share, that I felt like there are 5 lessons that we could truly learn from it. And I'm just waiting for the page to come in, and it's on the screen, that whether or not we like him, we can learn from him. 1, when on top, make wise choices, smart choices, positive, prayerful choices. We have to pray when you're on top, because when you're on top and when you're successful and when you're thriving, you are vulnerable. You're vulnerable. So we have to make wise choices, right? I wish I had written that down somewhere else, because I have to keep waiting for the thing, but it's okay, right? So 1, make wise choices. Number 2, make sure that whatever you decide to monetize yourself so you can gain no matter the circumstances you're in or where you are at. Be mentally strong. You can survive and overcome. 4, stay focused on the objective. 5, don't let the noise get to you. Do not, I'm telling you, when I sat and I'm hurting, it was some TikTok thing. I mean, when I tell you the amount, this person don't like him, that person like him. And I'm telling you, the kind of mental strength it requires to stay focused and don't let the noise drown you. Swim, float, but get through it. Swim, float, and thrive in the midst of the chaos. The 5 things are on the screen, and I hope you got them. But there's some lessons to be learned here, man. These 5 lessons, I believe, are really, for me, are not just believe, but I know there are lessons that the little that I've heard from the Vybz Kartel story, because believe me, I still haven't gone because I don't feel like I don't have to watch anything to understand. This man was in jail in this prison for 13 years. I cannot even imagine that. I don't like to feel trapped. Yeah. But the mental strength it must have taken for him to go through that. There is a reason God allowed his story to be that story. And there's a reason that story came across my awareness. So 1, when on top, make wise choices. 2, monetize yourself so you can you can increase your income no matter the circumstances you're in. Be mentally strong. You can survive and overcome. Stay focused on the objectives, right? And the final one that I have there is don't get lost in the noise. Swim, float, and thrive. Do not get lost in the noise. The chaos, don't get lost in the chaos. The chaos is going to be the chaos. Right? So it's don't let the noise drown you. Swim, float, and thrive in the midst of the chaos. That's number 5. The chaos will be there. I've gone through my own breakdowns. And to be honest with you, the chaos crippled me. It crippled me. And that's why I'm saying these lessons are important lessons. Too often, we sit down and we just gossip about stories and then end up in the same experiences or similar because we did not take the time to learn, to recognize that their story is a breakdown that God is using, is a disruption that God is using. God disrupted their lives to demonstrate something to us so we can do our self-work and become better persons or make better choices, right? Or become obedient to God, right? So he uses their breakdowns for us to do our self-work so that we can achieve the blessings, the good life that God has planned for us, so that we can achieve the breakthroughs, the good things in that God intends for us to have in this life. So that's why I wanted to talk about those 2 stories. And that's all I wanted to share. And just remember, whenever I talk about these stories, to the extent that I talk about these stories, it is to be inspired by their breakdowns, to do my self-work so that I can achieve breakthroughs. And I'm going to do an episode. I think the next episode I'm going to break down what I mean by I need to break down what do I mean when I say breakdown, what do I mean when I say self-work, and what do I mean when I say breakthrough. I'm going to actually break it down. Or if you already know what I'm saying and then there's no need for explanation, then you can let me know. All right. But you can, and also you can go to my website, mycoachministry.com, where you can get information on what I'm talking about when I talk about breakthroughs and breakdowns and self-work. You can go to my website, or as well as you can go to my YouTube channel at My Coach Ministry. And there are lots of content I have there where I talk about what I have an entire thing where I had a Udemy course where I talk about what's the breakdown. What do you do when there's a breakdown? How to get the best out of a breakdown so you can do your self-work, so you can achieve the breakthroughs. And of course, breakthroughs is the win. It's those positive outcomes that you're seeking for your life. All right. So I want to thank all the persons in this story. I want to thank Vybz Kartel and his family, Lisa Evers and their team. I want to thank the mother and the father in the case before, and the son and their families. I want to thank everyone for being in the hot seat, being in the position you've been put in, so that I could sit here and benefit from your story, so that I can sit here and have your story as an example for me to become a better person. I want to just say thank you for that. I don't take those things for granted at all. I love to open new packages. I want to deliver the latest information on the top funding opportunities for entrepreneurs who are seeking funding. Come along with me. I'm Coach Racquel, and this is a passion project for me, so I'm so happy to bring this to you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.
Unlock your potential every Thursday with our podcast, Refresh, Relax, Renew. Join Coach Racquel as she guides you through personal development journeys. Each episode focuses on actionable steps to enhance your personal journey. The podcast features 3 main segments to keep you engaged. We start with discussions on trending topics relevant to your growth. Then we unbox solutions to common challenges we face daily. Finally, stay updated with fresh funding opportunities each week. Tune in every Thursday for new episodes, and see you there.